My name's Carlo Raffo. I work in the School of Education here at the University of Manchester. I, many years ago, was a teacher in the City of Manchester, working with children from quite disadvantaged backgrounds. I arrived here at the university as a teacher trainer and through that work engaged with new entrants into the profession and attempted sort of develop an interest in issues of equity in education. Through that work and through the research I've done over a number of years, I've started to develop my ideas about what equity in education might look like, particularly in urban contexts. The importance of the urban context is that that's where basically the inequalities are concentrated. And there's something about the nature of the urban which perhaps creates difficulties for groups of young people to engage effectively in education. A lot of educational research in schools examines issues of school processes, and in many respects those are important to understand how schools can actually improve their practice. However, an important consideration is to try and get to understand how young people approach their educational lives. It's understanding their agency. And in a sense, to understand agency, one has to go beyond the school environment. And this is where, if you like, urban education becomes interesting and where the interdisciplinary aspect of education is so important. Without understanding the nature of the sociology of education, the geography of education, the anthropology of education, one can't really understand how young people engage with education. So my work focuses on those issues that help to form the agency of young people, particularly our disadvantaged young people in our cities. And in doing that, I've worked in a number of disciplines, particularly in urban geography, examining issues of place and space and their impacts on the identity of young people, but also on cultural studies, so examining how human capital, social capital and cultural capital come together to impact on how young people engage with education. In examining issues of young people's agency and how they operate in schools, one also has to look at the issues of equity. Without having a clear understanding of those things that make for an equitable educational outcome, one can't necessarily know how to deal with those young people and with schools in those contexts. Much of educational policy in urban contexts is perhaps focused on notions of redistribution. How do we redistribute resources to bring about a redistribution of educational attainment? How do we narrow the attainment gap? But that sometimes ignores the important issues to do with recognition. How do young people and their families and communities get recognised in an equitable way within the education system? Recent examples of work that I've done on issues of recognition focus in on the work of the Royal Society of Arts and their Peterborough curriculum. In essence, the Peterborough curriculum is an experiment to try and get community to work with schools and to examine how that might operate in the classroom. So what happens is that teachers work with community representatives to develop an area-based curriculum that actually reflects the needs of community. And so what teachers then try to do is explore and develop their English curriculum, their science curriculum in relation to the area and their needs. And the idea behind that is that young people engage more effectively with issues that are close to hand and which resonate in their lives and which can then build into the official curriculum and allow them to engage more fully in that curriculum. And that work is ongoing, and we hope to have some really useful insights into that we can scale up to a much wider audience.